What's up, everybody, and welcome back to FS2S. Also, welcome to the very first chapter of the 6-7 Dually project. Today, it's actually going to be a pretty tedious day, that being because it's going to be a lot of, removing things that I just don't like on the truck. I'm going to let you guys know it's not too exciting, but there are a few things on the truck that I just have to take care of. So let me just jump right in. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is remove this flat black vinyl that's between the two doors. I just think it looks a little cheap, so I'm gonna get rid of that. Next thing is gonna be removing the Ram 3500 emblem. For now, I'll be keeping the Cummins emblem. I like the way that looks, but this looks a little bulky. So I started picking at it, and then I found out that it's a lot easier if I use the heat gun and heat up the surface a little bit. That way, instead of picking off little pieces, I can actually pull off larger pieces at a time. This is actually going pretty well right here. It's not too bad. Alright, that was the biggest piece yet. There we go. That looks pretty good. I think I'll leave it just like that. Okay, so one side I've peeled off. There's still all the sticky residue, but I'm gonna work on this side before I get to getting all that stuff off. Just start at a corner here, see if I can work my way down. Nice. Okay, so peeling it off was relatively easy, except for right here. I found out that there's a little screw in the back that you could actually remove, and then that would take off the panel in order to expose the rest of the vinyl. So that's what I did on the front and back. Makes it a lot easier that way instead of having to try to pry it out of there. And there it is with the vinyl torn off. If you can see, there's all the sticky nasty residue left over from the vinyl. So in order to get that off, I'm going to use some Goo Gone. I just poured a little bit on this cloth. I'm just going to dab it on there. This should be able to come off pretty easily with this stuff. Alright, after wiping it clean, stuff came right off, and that's the first look. I think it looks pretty good. And for a comparison, I'll show you guys the other side. So this is what it looks like now. And the other side still looks like this. I just think it looks a lot cleaner with the paint coming through. I mean, maybe if it were a gloss black, I might like it a little better, but this flat black is just, no. So it's actually kind of funny. The vinyl on the passenger side came off completely perfect in 2 perfect strips, while the driver side came off in 6,000 pieces. So with that being the case, 2 perfectly good vinyl strips for sale. Let's go 200 bucks for the pair. No low balls. I know what it's worth. If you have trades, let me know. Okay, and now moving on to the emblems. Now we really get into the fun part. Bring out the old heat gun again. I'm heating up the emblems, that way it will soften the adhesive underneath it. Just got to make sure that you don't heat it up too much, just be careful. And then I prefer to use fishing line, any kind will do. I used to use floss, but floss tends to tear a lot more easily. So I prefer the fishing line because it actually makes it a lot more sturdy. Doesn't really break as much. Yeah. So I'm going to speed up this process. I'm just sort of flossing back and forth, going underneath the emblem, trying to saw through the entire distance. Alright, and I sawed through the entire emblems, ready to be removed. And there you have it. Now, as you can see, almost all of the adhesive was left on the truck. The emblems on the backside are pretty bare. This stuff is pretty hard to pick off just with your fingers. I'm just going to use the heat gun to heat it up, see if I can peel it off a little easier. Alright, I got the ram off. Now I just got to deal with this big, nasty rectangle. No, okay, I'd say that's good enough. And now we go right back to the good old trusty glue gun. Same kind of concept. I'm just going to pour some onto the rag and dab it on. It says to let it sit for 2 to 3 minutes, so I'm going to do that. That way it can soak right into the adhesive and come off a lot easier. I'm using a credit card now because my fingers got tired. Alright, I'm wiping away the glue gun, all the extra oil and all that stuff. All the chunks are gone. All the big pieces of adhesive came off. Wasn't too bad, but if you notice, I hope the camera's picking it up, you can kind of see that there's still an outline of the emblem. Like if you look up close, you can still see that it says RAM, and you can see the big rectangle and everything. It's just a big brown nasty outline. And what I found is a good way to remove this kind of stuff is to use some kind of polish. I prefer to use white diamond metal polish. I just dab a little bit on a microfiber, spread it around, and then buff it all out. And now after it's wiped away, you can see that there's no longer the nasty frame of the emblem. And that looks pretty good. And the third thing I'm going to be doing today is this disgusting antenna holder. For some reason, every time I see these on any 4th gen truck, they're always faded and nasty and just look like shit. So I'm going to remove mine, and hopefully I'll be able to restore it back to its original color. You know what, that's true custom. I might just leave it like that. So I'll be using mother is back to black, trim and plastic restorer. I basically just put it on the microfiber, rubbed it all in, called it good, and it actually turned out pretty well. So yeah, I think I'm gonna roll with that. And yeah, it definitely looks better now. It looks back to black. So that's a tiny little mod that really bothered me just because it looks so faded. And I can't forget, have to remove the dealership decal. All I really did with that is heat it up a little bit, pick it off. So there you have it, guys. I know this might not have been the most exciting video, but I do always want to share and keep updated with you guys every little thing I do with this truck, and I don't want to leave out any details. So everything that I mod with it, everything that gets done will always be shared. Do stay tuned because it's going to get a lot more exciting. Little sneak peek behind me, dealing with a little bit of polishing for who knows what. And yeah, thanks for sticking through. I got a whole lot more going on. I got a lot of stuff sitting here. I'm ready to jump into it. This stuff, these little decals and all that stuff just had to get done. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned, and thanks for sticking to the end of chapter 1 of the 6.7 Dually project.